Hi, everybody. My name is David Mashian, and I'm Dave the Real Estate Guy. Today, we're going to cover Chapter 19 on Commercial Real Estate Brokerage Bootcamp, and we're just going to cover some basic tips that are good to review and remember. So, starting off, I suggest recording your calls. You can record it on so many ways on your computer, on your iPhone, your cell phone. But even it doesn't even have to be a live call that you're recording with a prospect. You can just record your practice sessions because it makes a big difference in hearing how you sound on a call. You know how you sound every day, right? You hear yourself talk every day, but you never actually hear it from the standpoint of somebody else. So by recording your calls, you get to hear yourself. You get to hear the pauses, the ums, the maybe looking for a word like I just did, right? So you want to hear yourself. Okay, it's very important. Also, it's also good to have somebody else listen to your call to role play with. You may be in the same company with somebody else doing this similar work as you, maybe same territory, same product type. And it's good to role play because they can hear you, you hear them, you give each other feedback. But it's great to have them recorded, whether it's by machine or have somebody else, you record the role playing. Okay. Now, the next tip is read books on cold calling. I reread and read and reread the books on cold calling several times until finally I had it down. I overcame any anxiety or fear about calling. So it's always good because when you hear or read these things, or you can actually listen to tapes or YouTube videos or whatever it is that talks about cold calling. These are all self-assuring, and every time you hear these things, it actually upgrades your abilities. Whether you think so or not, it's inside you. Every time you do it, it's just another notch up on the ladder that you're going in terms of improving your skill set on getting on the phone. Okay, so the next tip is believe prospects benefit from your call. So kind of the one thing that we kind of shoot ourselves in the foot by is, well, why am I going to call them? They don't have any reason to want to talk to me. Well, that's not the case. You are an active broker in your field, right? You have your specific territory. You have your specific product type. Even if you're starting out, that's super important because people want to know that. That's going to be like gives you so much credibility. So if somebody, let's say I was an apartment broker who I specialized in Hollywood, California, right? When I talk to people, I said, look, I make over 100 calls a day. I'm talking to people every day. I know what's going on in the market. I know what comes for sale that's never going to hit the market. I know, what has sold and why it's sold. This is inside information that the property owners don't have. They don't know this. Just because they own a property doesn't mean they know what's going on. They don't. They really don't. You have more knowledge about what's going on in the market than they do because you're on the phone talking to prospects all day long. You have a pulse on the market. Literally, when you're on the phone every day, you can see the ups and downs day by day of the market psychology. It's interesting. It's as if people are talking to each other, but you can see people moving kind of waves together in similar patterns. So people benefit from your services. So just know that. Uh, and if you don't know that, go back to my chapter that I talked about how you add value. That's very important. You really need to memorize that because when you know that, uh, the prospects are going to know that. And actually, that's a good thing to bring up on a call. I used to actually tell people my value proposition, how I add value on the phone, and people would listen. You might think, oh, they're going to be bored. Why do they want to hear this? Wrong. They want to hear this because nobody else is telling them this. As far as they know, everybody is out, who's a real estate broker is just out there taking an order and just wants to write a purchase agreement and close the deal and walk away and take a commission check. They're not doing anything. That's not the case. So you got to set their expectations differently. And when you do that, You become their real estate broker. Okay? The next one is have positive self expectancy. Just say, you know what? This next one is going to be an appointment. This next call is going to be an appointment. Okay? Within the next 15 minutes, I'm going to get an appointment. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. I have no doubt about it. It will happen because it's happened for me. If you go the opposite and say, nobody's going to want to meet with me. Well, guess what? What you're going to get? You're going to get what you just said. If you have a positive self-expectancy, you're going to get what you're expecting. So have a positive self-expectancy. I know it's hard in the beginning when you never experienced it, but when you start experiencing it, you'll see it works. And the next one is respect yourself and the service you provide. So this is very key. You may think just because you don't know anything, or maybe you're new to the business, or you're junior, or whatever it is, whatever you're using to beat yourself down, don't believe it. You got to respect yourself. And when you respect yourself, people feel that, and they'll respect you. When you see your own self-worth, other people will see it too. That's how it starts. When you appraise yourself at a higher value, people will put you there as well. The value you give yourself is the one that people are going to see. So respect yourself and the service you provide, and people will respect you and your service that you provide. Going to the next one, prospecting tips, is know the benefits to prospect of working with you and your company. Similar to what we just talked last, right? Know the benefits. That's like, what's your add value? You got to be able to communicate that to your prospect. Also, know in advance that the prospect needs your service. They really do. If you've ever talked to somebody trying to sell their own property, unless it's a super hot market where you could just put anything out there and it'll sell, it won't sell unless you have a broker who's actively promoting the property for sale. The prospect needs you. It needs you for a lot of reasons. All those reasons that we put as how you add value, how you bring value to the prospect. And believe in yourself in the law of averages, right? So, if you keep going at it, depending on how efficient you are in your prospecting, you're gonna get deals. I've seen it where people who are terrible cold callers, and they're just cranking out calls, and they're not necessarily getting any better, but with each call, it's the same process over and over. But they're making deals because they're out there knocking on doors, making calls, and getting people what they're doing and making deals happen. It's amazing. And I've seen people who are super smooth, way smoother than me, and they're just like so good at it, amazing, that they just, kill it just within a short time, a few calls, they get appointments. Amazing. Okay, the next one in the prospecting tips is believe you are different than the competition. Now, you may wonder, well, how am I different than the competition? Well, if you actually do the work that I'm saying, like prospecting, you're already different than 99% of the competition. Okay, I'll be more fair. Let's say 97% of the competition. The vast majority of the brokers out there do not prospect. They're out there trying to get referrals, trying to scrape deals from situations. They don't ever bother picking up the phone because they're scared of the phone. All the points of resistance that I'm talking to you about, what do I say? Well, what am I going to bring? Blah, 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 is what they're thinking. So they resort to kind of tactics that bring in bad deals or no deals. So you're very different in the fact that you're just actually getting on the phone and calling your market area for the property type you work on, and calling those property owners. You're within the top 3%. Just that act alone puts you in the top category. No exaggeration. Okay? The other one is be businesslike. You know, it's good to be like casual and friendly, but you got to keep it business. You don't deviate too much because then you kind of like blurred the lines of what are we doing here? Are you going to be representing me as a respected counsel representative for my interests, or are you what are you doing? So you want to keep yourself businesslike, right? Dress the part, talk the part, look the part, right? You want to keep that. And of course, you want to be enthusiastic. Even if you have no knowledge, no nothing, your enthusiasm will sell. People will buy your enthusiasm because they'll like you. They'll respect your energy. They will give you deals just because you have so much energy for the deal. If you're not excited about the deal, in fact, you should be more excited about the deal than the property owner. If you're more excited about the deal than the property owner, you're going to get the deal. A lot of times, these property owners are not even excited about the deal. They know the property, they've been there, they've seen it, done it, all that. They don't, it's like whatever to them. But if you say, you know what, I can crush it, I'm going to make this deal happen, this is the best property in the market, blah, 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 say your spiel, but be enthusiastic, you're going to get that listing. You're going to get that listing because that's infectious. People will love it. They'd rather give it to somebody who's got hustle than somebody who's got a bunch of knowledge but won't do anything with it. They're going to sit on their butt. The guy who's got hustle is going to make something happen. Right? Also, be sincere. Be yourself. Be your authentic self. Authenticity sells. Be yourself. Be sincerely yourself. Okay? That doesn't mean rolling over like a, just people because people want to roll you over. But be yourself. Have your integrity, but be yourself. You don't need to be somebody else to be successful. You can be successful as you are. And if you see that you need improvement in whatever, maybe your sales skills or whatever skills, okay, improve it, but still be yourself. Okay? Now, the next point is, I can't even stress this enough, is ask for the meeting and ask for the meeting again. The ABCs of closing is always be closing. You may need to do 3 or 4 different, whatever number of closing techniques on the same call with the same person in the same conversation. Always be closing, right? And you got to ask for the meeting. I have seen it where people make hundreds of calls. I was managing a brokerage office and I would wonder why they're not making any appointments. They're making hundreds of calls. I see it. It's on the board. I see it. It's counting. The machine is counting it. It's not like they're lying. And I'm wondering what is going on. It only took one time to sit down and listen to their call to figure out what's going on. They're never asking for the meeting. They're just having a nice chit chat, but they never get down to asking for the meeting. That's why you're on the phone. You might as well not be on the phone if you're not going to ask for the meeting. Why bother? Ask for the meeting. That's why you're there. You're not there to sell them anything. You're not there to have a great conversation. You're there to get a meeting. So ask for it. Make sure you get that meeting. All right, guys. That's the end of chapter 19. Chapter 20 is next. Talk to you soon.